Part 121. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1203. 1202. Going back in the evening, Huo Yingja also found out why Tang Pingan was disabled. A little surprised, but also a little emotional. There are some people that Huo Yingja doesn't find so annoying, like Tang Pingan, a man who has a crush on He Tian but never shows any rudeness. A gentleman is like jade, he behaves with moderation. This is the best evaluation of Tang Pingan. Tang Pingan didn't say it, but Huo Yingja had to. When He Tian came back, she saw Huo Yingja beside the window, holding a glass of red wine and being lost in thought. "What's wrong?" He Tian asked. "Have you found any information?" Huo Yingja turned his head, put down the cup in his hand, and chuckled, "I found it. After all, this matter has something to do with us." "Ah," He Tian was stunned, "what does it have to do with us?" "The thing is like this, when we came to Xiangjiang last year and we wanted to investigate and rule out the killer, Zhao Gang didn't want to go against us again. Lu Lingli did it privately, but Zhao Gang wanted to make Lu Lingli happy, so Zhao Gang sent someone to interrupt Tang Pingan's legs. Because they found out that you were Tang Pingan's teacher and had a good relationship, they took revenge on you through Tang Pingan," Huo Yingja said, letting He Tian understand the whole story. "He is simply a scum of society," He Tian scolded. "Those who bully the weak and fear the strong will attack me if they have the ability. Tang Pingan, a scholar, is certainly not the opponent of those underworld. Hey, it is indeed me who has implicated him. If my legs have been in bad condition, and I will feel sad." "Haha, yes, I feel guilty too," Huo Yingja said. "What good ideas do you have?" "I also introduced Tang Pingan to Kijia village today. The environment there is good, and it is nourished by spiritual energy, which is good for his health. On the other hand, Wang Shuolian's acupuncture skills are very good. Maybe he can take good care of Tang Pingan's legs," He Tian said. "What do you think? How about I take him to Yanjing for treatment?" Huo Yingja thought for a while and said, "Let him go to Kijia village. There will be a lot of qi there, which will also help his career. Then I will secretly get some pills for him to take to ensure that he can return to normal. You as a teacher, I don't have to blame myself for the rest of my life." He Tian listened, nodded, and said, "That's very good." In the next few days, He Tian was busy communicating, staring blankly, attending the promotion and premiere of Tang Qian's new movie, and then went to Macau. By the time I returned to Yanjing, it was already a week later. After all athletes complete this, they will have a holiday. Everyone can have a good rest for more than a month. As for He Tian, the vacation is longer, a full 2 months. However, the children had no holidays, so He Tian stayed in Yanjing. It happened that He Jingyu came to Yanjing with his old mother, wife, and children. A quick calculation shows that the whole family has not seen each other for 2 years. He Tian finished tidying up the room and waited for the arrival of her relatives. The big courtyard became more lively. When Bai Qianjiao, Mrs. Huo and Mrs. Wang get together, they really talk about everything. Mrs. Huo comes here almost every day to talk to Bai Qianjiao, and goes back in the evening. "Hey, it would be better if Sister Qi is here, so that we old sisters can get together," Bai Qianjiao said. She has never forgotten the scenery of Kijia village, even in the distant United States, she has never forgotten it. Hearing this, Mrs. Huo was moved and said, "Since we are in good health, how about we go visit Sister Qi?" He Tian next to her was startled. How could she go to her grandmother at such an old age? "Flying? Haha, the journey is long. I wonder if you can bear the fatigue on the road," Bai Qianjiao asked. She was used to flying. She has been in good health in the past few years. Even though she is getting older, the journey is not difficult. Mrs. Huo thought about it and said, "It's okay. I can't take the plane, but we can take a special train. Now that we're speeding up, we'll be able to reach Kijia village soon. That's great, Baekhyunjio said, however, I'm used to flying. I can fly there first and wait for you in Kijia village. By the way, bring brother Huo with you to meet my old comrades. Okay, then I'll go back and make arrangements first, and I'll call you in the evening. Mrs. Huo has always had a fiery temper. She has made up her mind and wants to get it done now. Grandma Wang was also eager to try it and said, "Oh, if there is a special train, then I will go too. I haven't gone out for several years, and I want to see it too." "Well, let's go together then," Mrs. Huo said, and hurried back. When I returned to the old house, I met the old man and the old lady of the Tang family. As soon as Mrs. Huo said she wanted to go to Kijia village, the two old people's eyes lit up. They also wanted to go out for a walk. So the two families teamed up and went to Kijia village together. After the elders made arrangements, the juniors realized that the team had grown to 6 elders. The old man, the old lady, the youngest one is Baekhyunjio, who is almost 80 years old, and the others are already over 80 years old. How can you dare to let them travel alone? Huo Jekan looked at his parents and said, "Mom and Dad, we are so old and just wandering around. Let's not go to Kijia village. I heard people say that it is nice there, but it is a long way. Even if there is a special train, it will be a long way, 1 day and 1 night, it's too far. What's the point? I remember when I climbed the snow-capped mountains and crossed the grassland." Mr. Huo began a long speech about the glorious days. Huo Jekan smiled bitterly, complaining secretly in his heart, and said, "You always said you miss the past, but now that you are this age, you still want to have fun. Haha, what's the point? We're taking a train, and there's a health doctor accompanying us." Mr. Huo said, "It's because I'm getting old and don't have a few days to live, so I want to go out for a walk." Mrs. Huo smiled brightly and said, "Son, you don't have to worry about us. Our bodies know it by themselves. Well, let's go out for a walk while we can still move. When our bodies really don't allow us to travel, we will be honest. Stay at home." The Huo family is trying to persuade the old man and the old lady, and the children of the Tang family are also trying to persuade them. However, I couldn't persuade him, I just wanted to travel to Kijia village. Finally, from the Huo family's side, Zhang Lifang said, "I won't go to work. I will accompany my parents-in-law." He Tian smiled on the side and said, "I happen to be on vacation, how about I take everyone with me?" "Yeah, that's good," Mr. Huo said, "my child has good grades and doesn't care about going to school these days. Let's go ask for 2 weeks leave for our child and let's go together." When He Tian heard this, her eyes lit up, she could have this. The child's homework is very good. He has already learned the knowledge on his own at this age. It would be good to go out and walk more. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1204. 1203. So, a tour group of old people and children was set up. The troops were divided into 2 groups and went straight to Kijia village in Daowen County. Baekhyunjio, Wang Shuping, and their children took a plane together and flew directly to Hawaii City. As for He Jingyu, he stayed in Yanjing and studied the domestic and foreign economic situation with Huo Jekan in order to make investments later. He Jingyu came here this time, on the one hand to celebrate Huo Jekan's promotion, and on the other hand to look for more investment opportunities in the country. Huo Jekan explained the domestic situation to He Jingyu, and He Jingyu talked to Huo Jekan about the foreign situation. The two of them benefited a lot from each other. Both got some new things and prepared themselves for future investment or work. He Jingyu waited until things here were settled before going to Kijia village to meet his mother. He Tian took the old man and the old ladies on a special train. Baekhyunjio and others arrived first, and Secretary Chi had already sent a car to pick them up. Get off the plane here and drive directly back to Kijia village. Grandma Chi-san was very happy when she heard that the old sisters were coming. She waited at the entrance of the village early. Grandma Chi-san likes to put some candies in her pocket, and she will give some to children when they see her. Therefore, when the children in the village see Grandma Chi-san coming out, they will follow her. When Bai Qianjiao got out of the car, she saw Grandma Chi-san sitting on a rock telling a story to a child, and the child was still eating candy. Sister Chi Bai Qianjiao walked a few steps quickly. We haven't seen each other for several years and everyone is getting old. Grandma Chi-san smiled and said, I've finally waited for you, little cubs, go back. By the way, don't eat food given by strangers, you know. I know, third grandma. The child agreed and ran away huffing and puffing. Sister Chi is still so kind, and the children like you very much, Bai Qianjiao said with a smile, holding Grandma Chi-san's arm. We sisters have not seen each other for such a long time, let's talk nicely. Yes, although we usually write letters, there is no better way to write than to meet in person, Grandma Chi-san said. Everything at home is ready. By the way, you mean there are also the Huo family and the Tang family? They are not used to flying. They came by train. Tian Tian took care of them in the car. I am used to flying. I couldn't stand the long train day and night, so I brought my children here first, Bai Qianjiao explained. Why? Let's gather together first, and then gather together again when they arrive. Oh, don't the children want to go to school? Grandma Chi-san asked. It's not a holiday now. Wang Shuping smiled on the side and said, the child has good grades, and asking for leave to travel will not delay his studies, so Tian Tian and Yingjia directly asked for leave for the child. Haha, they couple can do it well, Grandma Chi-san smiled. Those children especially like to come here. Every time they come, they don't want to go back. Yes, I also heard Tian Tian say it, Bai Qianjiao said. I want to stay for a while when I come here this time. That's no problem, Grandma Chi-san said. I'll take you to a hot spring in the evening. I'll make sure you sleep well and eat well. Huo Ruiman and Huo Ruwa were explaining Kijia village to Huo Ruxiang and Huo Jian. Huo Ruxiang and Huo Jian came here for the first time and were very curious about this place. From the moment they entered the village, they could smell the fragrance in the air, which was refreshing, and at the same time they felt like they could exhale the bad things in their bodies. Just a few dozen meters away, they fell in love with it. The green trees on both sides were swaying gently, and there were some small flowers blooming on the ground. The antique streets were even more interesting. I saw many people riding rickshaws. They were curious and eager to try it. Finally, Wang Shuping said, go home and rest first, and I will take everyone out to play tomorrow. Now there are only a few people at home, but we cannot take care of so many children. Yahuo Ruxiang nodded. Grandma I know. When everyone comes tomorrow, let's go out and play together. Yes, you see there are a lot of people on the street. I'm afraid you'll get lost, Wang Shuping explained. Besides, you got up early in the morning and didn't eat much at noon. After you go back, eat something and just wash up and go to bed, and have fun tomorrow. Worried that the child would be unhappy, Wang Shuping patiently talked to the child. He Daodu nodded and said, I know mom, I will take care of my nephews. Huo Ruxiang over there wrinkled his nose. He is obviously bigger, okay. In the evening, Grandma Chi-san took her old sisters to the hot springs. The children were not needed. After dinner, they went back to sleep. By the time Tian Tian and his party arrived the next day, it was already 11 o'clock at noon. Fortunately, the train stopped in Daowen County, and it took only an hour to drive to Kijia village. There are so many people here, Grandma Chi-san's house is full. Even if the children have no place to live, they can just give them a large room and build a floor, thus saving 3 rooms. Huo Ruiman and Huo Xianxian are girls. They share a room. He Tiantian squeezes together with them, which is barely enough. After lunch and everyone's lunch break, Grandma Chi-san took the group to the hot springs. No matter who comes, the treat must be a hot spring bath. He Tiantian also likes the hot springs here, as do several elderly people. If they don't take a bath every day, they feel uncomfortable all over. Their arms and legs usually feel a little uncomfortable, but they are not unbearable, so they are not willing to take medicine. After soaking for several days, they found that their discomfort was lessened or even gone. What an unexpected surprise, I like that hot spring even more. Qi Jianmin, after Tang Qian finished his work, followed him. He Tiantian packed out another room for their family, but she really couldn't pack out any more rooms. How long can you stay here? He Tiantian asked, while helping to spread the quilt. Tang Qian and I can only stay for a week. After that, we will leave the child here and we will return to Yanjing, Qi Jianmin said with a smile. With the parents-in-law and security guards here, there is no need to worry about the child. In this way, she and Tang Qian could have a good life together for a few days. That's fine. Anyway, I have a vacation and can help take care of the child, He Tiantian said. The child only has 2 weeks of vacation, and we will go back then. Qi Jianmin smiled and said, look at all those old men and women who like to soak in hot springs. I don't think 2 weeks is enough for them. Haha, you are right, maybe, He Tiantian said. I heard that soaking in hot springs makes them feel very comfortable. If so, they can stay here longer. Well, that's good. Anyway, I think the winter here is much better than that in Yanjing, Qi Jianmin said. It's really too cold in Yanjing. Although there is heating at home, it's very cold outside. I want to shrink my head all day long. Yeah, but I'm used to it, He Tiantian said. The 4 seasons are very clear throughout the year. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1205. 1204. Just as he was talking, Qi Daniu came in from outside. Daniu, today is not Sunday, and it's still morning. There are classes. Why are you here? He Tiantian was surprised. Usually when Qi Daniu comes over, he comes at night. Qi Daniu had something to say, but seeing Qi Jianmin beside her, she hesitated a little. What's wrong? Qi Jianmin asked. I'm here, Sister Daniu. Isn't it convenient for you to talk? Qi Daniu said coquettishly, it's not inconvenient, it's just a little scary. I'm afraid I'll scare you. Qi Jianmin was surprised and asked, what is so scary? When you say that, I want to know even more. Jianmin is not one of our own, just say it, it's okay. Besides, she's so courageous, I can't scare her. He Tiantian smiled, she's very calm now, it shouldn't be anything big. Seeing He Tiantian, Qi Jianmin said this, Qi Daniu did not hesitate and said, Sister Tiantian, do you still remember that when you were in our village, we were cutting grass on the mountain and met a group of vicious tomb robbers? It was very dangerous that time. If we hadn't been lucky, we would have been killed by them. He Tiantian thought for a while, nodded and said, I remembered it, please ask me about this matter. Qi Ling came personally to lead the arrest, but there were still fish that slipped through the net. We were really lucky that time, otherwise we would die. It's warped. Yes, Qi Darniu said, I feel scared just thinking about it now. By the way, after so many years, why do you suddenly remember it? He Tiantian was even more curious about this matter. As a normal person, it should not be affected after such a long time. Qi Daniu thought for a while and said, Sister Tiantian, yesterday I was in the mountains, taking students on an autumn outing, and I met 2 people. One of them was a bit like the feeling those people gave me back then, and that person saw me at that time. That look was very scary, but it just flashed and disappeared again, but I am sure that I saw it correctly. He Tian frowned and said, "Is that person still in Kijia village?" "Yes, I heard from a student in the class that his family owns a tea shop. Next door is a shop that sells the four treasures of the study. This person is the owner," Chi Niu said. "Originally, I wanted to go and see it alone." "Yes, but I don't dare." "Since you think there is danger, then don't go," He Tian explained. "Whether it is true or not, don't show it." Yeah, Chi Niu nodded. "I probably didn't show it too much at the time. It's just that the person back then and the person now have been flashing in my mind these past few days. Although more than 10 years have passed, my appearance has changed a bit." "Changes, but I think the eyes haven't changed." "Okay, I understand. I will send someone to investigate," He Tian said. "On your side, try not to be alone when walking in the future. It will be safer if there are other people around you." "I will pay attention," Chi Daniu agreed. Chi Zhenmin listened carefully to Chi Daniu and He Tianatian's conversation. When they saw that they had finished talking, he asked curiously, "I heard my grandmother say before that the big hot spring outlet on the mountain was actually a large cemetery before. When the experts came, before the excavation, it was visited by tomb robbers." "Yes, the tomb robber was also smart. Not only did he find one tomb, but he also found a second one. The tomb robber took away many things, and also caused damage and damaged many good things," He Tian explained. He said, "I'm curious. If it's really a tomb robber, he must have discovered something good here. Our village is so good now, I don't want these people to destroy it. Nowadays, tourism is being developed, and there are a lot of people coming and going. If those people have bad intentions, they may hurt tourists," Chi Niu said. She witnessed Chi Niujia village gradually became rich and beautiful from poverty. He did not want anyone to destroy the beauty of Kijia village. Chi Zhenmin listened and nodded. "Sister Tian, it's time for someone to investigate this carefully." He Tian nodded and said, "Please, I will arrange this matter. Don't do anything without permission." "Yes," Chi Zhenmin and Chi Daniu agreed. In the afternoon, He Tian took her children up the mountain. She made a lot of cakes at home and sent them to Kui Ying and others from the Dragon King Temple. On the road, several children happily climbed the stairs and competed. He Tian walked and admired the surrounding scenery. "When passing the fork in Daowen, I spotted two people." He Tian looked at it a few more times, and the man also looked at He Tian a few times, then turned and left. Even though that person didn't show hostility towards He Tian felt that those eyes were familiar. Yes, familiar. In the past, when He Tian encountered such a situation, she would treat it as someone she had met before, but now she can't remember it and doesn't take it seriously, so she missed the opportunity to find out Lu Lingli in Nanxi. This time, this feeling came again, and she couldn't miss it. But now that she has a child with her, even though she has a hairpin like 11 Yuhua, she can't create too fantasy a scene in front of tourists. Let's talk about it after we get to the mountain and find Kui Ying and others. Alas, Huo Yingjia didn't come. If Brother Yingjia was here, just let Brother Yingjia handle it. Let's talk about the little spinner turtle walking not far away. Seeing his mother thinking deeply, he ran over and asked, "Mom, what's wrong with you?" "It's okay," He Tian said. "There are many people now. If you talk to the little turtle at night, you can also let the little turtle go check it out privately. There must be something wrong with Mom, but she just didn't tell Xian," the little turtle said. "Has Xian become smaller and useless?" "No," He Tian smiled. "Don't worry, Mom will tell Xian tonight." Said the little turtle. He stopped eating with the others and followed He Tian. When we arrived at the mountain, Kui Ying was teaching her children to practice martial arts. The child looked a bit like Kui Ying. He Tian took out the cakes and put them on the stone table, saying, Huafeng, it's time for some snacks. Huafeng smiled cheerfully and said, thank you, Auntie Tian, but I didn't finish the zamabu. Okay, the child is so young, how greedy he is when he sees other people eating. He Tian said, give me face and let the child have snacks. When Kui Ying saw that He Tian didn't say that, and her son swallowed his saliva, Kui Ying said angrily, as soon as you come here, you will pamper my child. No way, He Tian retorted, your Huafeng is so obedient, I am not the one who spoils you. Okay then, let's go have some snacks. Kui Ying said, don't forget to thank Auntie Tian and thank you brothers and sisters. Yeah, thank you sweet aunt, brother and sister. Huafeng is a 5-year-old fat baby, very strong, cheerful, and loves to laugh. No matter who he met, he was always smiling. The children also loved Huafeng and shared snacks with him. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1206. 1205. After eating snacks, the children ran to play. He Tian stayed to talk to Kui Ying and wanted to hear Kui Ying's opinion. Kui Ying, do you still remember that not long after you came to Kijia village, 2 groups of tomb robbers came from the back mountain? He Tian asked. Kui Ying should know about this. Maybe Kui Ying and Huashan might have something when they came to Kijia village. Ineffable purpose. He Tian has always thought so. Kui Ying listened, nodded, and said, yes, I remember. You also know that we are a cultivator family, and we came here because we felt something strange happened in Kijia village. At that time, we had direct contact with tomb robbers. I even knocked out a tomb robber. Well, in that case, apart from you, has anyone else seen other tomb robbers? He Tian asked. She knew that the Kui family must have a purpose for coming here. Perhaps like those tomb robbers, they all wanted to get the tomb. He Tian did not ask the reason, but focused on the problem of tomb robbers. Kui Ying thought for a while and said, you should know, what's wrong? At that time, Daniu and I were mowing grass in the mountains, and we happened to meet that group of tomb robbers. Now Daniu and I have met someone who looks a bit like one of those people back then. He Tian replied, you too, you know, tomb robbers are very vicious, and they almost kill people. I'm a little worried that there are such ruthless people in Kijia village. Furthermore, I'm a little curious, why did they come here again? When Kui Ying saw He Tian asking, she didn't hide it. With Huo Yingja and Little Spin Turtle around, she couldn't hide it from He Tian. My second uncle established the Shenlong sect here to recruit disciples. As the transcendent sect of our Xiaoao sect, on the one hand, he wanted to select good seedlings with spiritual roots. On the other hand, my uncle felt that the spiritual energy here was rich and helpful for cultivation. There is also a more important place. He did find that there is a prince's tomb in the back mountain of Kijia village, 3 kilometers away from Daowen. He Tian was stunned. This was Huo Yingjia's paradise in the past. It is estimated that the warlocks also found this place very good, so it became the burial place of those princes and generals. You want what's inside? He Tian asked. This doesn't seem to be legal. Kui Ying smiled and said, actually, we just want to find something that is good for our practice. As for those cultural relics, to us, they are dead objects and have no value. But if those tomb robbers find it, they will take it. If they don't take everything away, they will destroy it, so what they take away will be even more precious, just like what those people did in the cemetery before. In that case, hurry up and excavate, He Tian asked. You mix in the archaeological team, and when the time comes, you can use your methods to collect things that are useful to you. It's better than those tomb robbers digging holes everywhere and destroying the inside. Those people have guns in their hands, I don't feel safe. Kui Ying nodded and said, okay, I'll call my second uncle over, and we'll discuss this matter carefully. Well, let's solve it as soon as possible. He Tian nodded, as long as you are sure there is one, then dig it out quickly. After all, Kijia village and Huishan are now tourist attractions with a large flow of people. Once those tomb robbers fail to achieve their goals, they will use any means. It will definitely cause harm, and if there are lives, it will definitely affect the tourism industry here. I know, Tian, we will discuss it as soon as possible. Kui Ying nodded and agreed with He Tianation's words. Kui Ying went to her uncle Kui Hung and her father Kui Yong and told He Tianation's plan. In that case, just do what He Tian said. Kui Yong said, I also feel that there are some strange people walking through the mountains and forests recently, thinking they are tourists, but there are no roads in those places, and tourists generally don't come here. Kui Hung nodded and said, I have fought against those people in Huashan before. Those people have guns and evil spirits on their bodies. It can be seen that they all have lives in their hands. Since He Tian said that there is something wrong with the shop owner of the 4 treasures of the study, then I'll go investigate. It's better for me to go. Kui Yong said, you'd better contact the Cultural Relics Bureau of Daowen County and ask them to send people over quickly, otherwise, before the officials come here, those people have already dug holes all over the mountains and plains, can only pick up people's wisdom. You'd better practice, these 2 things are not difficult. Kui Hung said, I can handle it easily. That's okay. Kui Yong said, Kui Ying and I are here. Go quickly. Seeing this, He Tian said, thank you for your hard work. If you really want something good, you can get it based on your ability. I won't tell you. Thank you in advance. Kui Yong said with a smile. He Tian didn't like those things, so naturally he wouldn't fight with them. Besides, if he protects He Tian well and does what He Tian says, Huo Yingja they must be happy and maybe give them some good things. It's my duty to thank you. Please ensure the safety of Kijia village. He Tian said, I don't want anyone to have an accident. We will try our best. Kui Yong said. When he came down from the mountain and passed the Venfang Sibeo shop, He Tian took a look inside the shop. Unexpectedly, the shopkeeper came out of the shop and saw He Tian. However, the shopkeeper at this time was completely different from the one on the mountain. He was kind and friendly, with a smile on his fat face. The little spin turtle also looked at the shopkeeper, squinted her eyes, and remembered it in her mind. She would come over to check it out in the evening. There seemed to be something wrong with this man's eyes. He looks kind on the surface, but his eyes are cold. Back home, He Tian was a little distracted. He Tian said to Wei Yuan, go talk to the other guards. You must cheer up and make no mistakes. Yes. Wei Yuan nodded. Tian, what's wrong? It's not sure yet. We may have a conclusion tomorrow. He Tian said, it's not sure yet, so I can't say anything to avoid causing panic. Hearing this, Wei Yuan was stunned. Even if it was fake, she still had to know. What happened? Wei Yuan asked. If you find anything, you can tell us. He Tian thought for a while, nodded and said, then let me tell you. He Tian told Wei Yuan what happened, and Wei Yuan was stunned. If you are a tomb robber, you must be more careful. Wei Yuan said, I will make arrangements to ensure the safety of the leaders. Sure enough, after Wei Yuan told the other guards, those people's eyes seemed to be equipped with small electric lights, staring closely at everyone passing by the yard. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1207. 1206. That's a tomb robber. Someone with a gun, maybe a detonator to open the mountain, etc. Here, there is a wealthy overseas Chinese who has returned from the country, and 2 old heroes, not 2. There was originally 1 in Kijia village, that is, 3, so nothing can happen. Once something happens, it will not be a demerit, and the good future will be gone. From this day on, security requirements have been raised to the top level and we are on alert. Kui Hong first went to the Cultural Bureau to find his former colleague, Ho Daliang. Old Kui, why are you here? Ho Daliang also knew this young professor who had worked with him for 2 years. He was very professional and much better than the people in his bureau. Kui Hong took the water cup and said with a smile, I have been here a long time ago, and now I am practicing at the Shenlong Temple behind Kijia village. Some time ago, when I was walking on the mountain, I discovered some interesting places. After careful study, I think there might be a big tomb down there. Ahem, Ho Daliang was drinking tea. When he heard Kui Hong's words, he coughed in surprise. Professor Kui, you can't talk nonsense. You staff in government agencies should also go down there and walk more. What kind of cultural relics can you find while sitting in the office all day? Professor Kui said, sometimes when ancient tombs are found, they are discovered by farmer brothers. By the time you get there, the place has been visited countless times by tomb robbers. Hearing what Kui Hong said, Ho Daliang smiled bitterly and said, hey, actually we don't want to be like this, but there is no way. There are only 7 or 8 people in charge of archaeology in our unit, and they all have tasks, so how can they have time to go there? Let's investigate below. Okay, Kui Hong said with a smile, I brought the words to you. Whether you are willing to send someone or not is up to you. But based on my experience, it is definitely a big tomb, at the level of a prince. Really, Ho Daliang was stunned, because 2 large tombs were excavated in the back hill of Kijia village, which made their unit a big attraction. Now the museum is full of things unearthed here. Therefore, the old leader was promoted. He was just a director, but now he is a director. It's underground, believe it or not, Kui Hong said, I only came up with it based on my judgment. I can't guarantee it. It depends on what you do. After hearing this, Ho Daliang pondered for a moment and nodded, I believe in Professor Kui's professional ability. It's just that there are not enough people. I have to transfer people there, which takes time. Haha, whatever you want, anyway, I have found some people who don't look like tourists walking around in the non-tourist area of Kijia village, as if they are surveying something, maybe they are tomb robbers. Don't wait for others to dig holes everywhere, you guys go, Kui Hong said with a smile, not trying to scare Ho Daliang, but telling the truth. Thinking of this, Ho Daliang quickly wiped the sweat on his head and said, this. I said you have been promoted. If you find the big tomb, you still need money, Kui Hong said, if you can pay enough, I can help you temporarily for a while. Is this true? Ho Daliang asked happily. Kui Hong's words can indeed help a lot. Of course, Kui Hong said, I also have a niece who knows some skills and can also help. You quickly transfer people over and let's excavate that big tomb. If we take the lead now, tomb robbers will get there first. Yeah, that's a waste of time. Okay, I will take people there tomorrow, Ho Daliang said. Once I find a major tomb, I will apply for armed protection from above. In this case, those tomb robbers will not dare to act. There's no question of whether you dare or not, only whether it's worth it, Kui Hong said. We also applied for armed protection before. Didn't we let those tomb robbers dig holes under our noses and take away so many good things? Hearing Kui Hong's words, Ho Daliang was a little embarrassed, and said sarcastically, it's not all our fault if we don't think it's intentional. Okay, since I told you, I'm going back. You should hurry up, Kui Hong said, I have determined the approximate location based on experience before. I believe that everyone will be able to determine the size soon. We can't let everyone work in vain. Field. That's good, Ho Daliang smiled, it's getting late. Professor Kui, let's have dinner together and talk. Thinking about saying hello to Ho Daliang in the future, Kui Hong nodded and went to dinner with Ho Daliang. After having had enough wine and food, Kui Hong quietly went to Wen Beizai when he came back in the evening. Brother, today I passed that magnificent house in Kijia village. There were many soldiers inside, and the guns in their arms were real. One of the young men whispered, is there any big shot coming? There are some big shots, but those big shots are just here to visit relatives and friends. They are not targeting us. You don't have to worry, the shopkeeper said. You all should be honest, don't go out, and dig holes quickly. The young man smiled and said, in 5 or 6 days, we can dig to the destination. Second uncle, you are so powerful, there must be a big tomb inside, right? Every time the second uncle makes a move, he can do something big. This time he is more cautious than before, so everyone speculates that this time the cemetery will be bigger than before. It should be a prince's tomb, the shopkeeper said. After finishing this job, it will be enough for you to be rich and prosperous for a lifetime. Now we must encourage these little brats, otherwise they will not be willing to work. He takes care of things outside, but these young people must do things like digging holes. He is so old that he can't do it anymore. Time makes people grow old, and it doesn't matter if they don't accept it. Kui Hong heard the conversation inside on the roof, and it was just as he guessed before, it was the tomb robbers. As for whether it was the same group as before, he was not sure now. Just as Kui Hong was thinking, the conversation inside started again. Second uncle, my father died here before, can you help find him? One of the female voices said, even if my father is dead, I want to know how he died. If possible, I want to avenge my father, bring my father's bones back, and bury him in our Lu family's ancestral tomb, so that he can't be a lonely ghost for the rest of his life. Jia, don't worry, second uncle has been investigating this time, and he will definitely find news about the eldest brother, the shopkeeper said. It's just that this is a tourist area, there are many people and eyes, we must be careful, and there can't be any mistakes. After all, for this time, we mobilized more than a dozen people in the clan. Once something happens, that's more than a dozen people, and there are many families behind. The girl named Jia nodded and said, second uncle, I know, thank you for your trouble. Lu Jia came here this time regardless of her mother's obstruction, just to find the cause of her father's death and her father's bones. If possible, she also wants to avenge her father. That's my eldest brother too, the shopkeeper said. I came here to look for my eldest brother last time, but I didn't find him, and I almost stayed here. If it weren't for those brothers covering me, hey. Hearing this, Kui Hong on the roof was sure that this was the last group of tomb robbers. Recommend Kikai's own new book Reborn Sweet Wife, The Strongest Agent, which is a story about a little girl who deliberately clings to her thighs and is counterattacked, and she foolishly pretends to be a pig and eats the tiger, and then makes a gorgeous counterattack and reaches the peak of her life. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1208. 1207. He couldn't touch these people yet. He wanted to tell He Tian the news and then discuss what to do. Tonight, not only Kui Hong came, but also the little spin turtle. Not only did he hear their conversation, but he also found out where the robbery cave was, what route it took, and how many people there were on the other side. After the little spin turtle came back, he quietly returned to the room. Now He Tian shares a room with Huo Ruiman and the little turtle. Huo Ruiman had fallen asleep, but in order not to wake her up, the little turtle set up a barrier and said, Mom, those people are tomb robbers, the same people more than 10 years ago. Luda died in the cave, that the shopkeeper is Lu Er who escaped last time. So that's it, He Tian nodded, so it's them. Yes, they have already dug the robbery hole. I calculated that they still have 5 or 6 days to dig through it and reach the cemetery. The little spinner said, the tomb is indeed very big, and there are many precious things in it. Well, that's enough time, he Tian said. I'll call Kailing tomorrow and tell him to send someone over quickly. Now he is the deputy director of the Hawaii City Public Security Bureau. He is young, capable, and has real power. As long as he is sure, he Tian is not afraid. Early the next morning, Kui Hong came over and told he Tian in person that the archaeological department would send someone immediately. In addition, he also found out the identity of the group, which was the same as they had guessed before. After hearing this, he Tian nodded and said, okay, I'll contact the people from the Public Security Bureau. I'll rely on Professor Kui for archaeology. Well, there will be no problem on my side, Kui Hong said. The man named Lu Er is the leader of the tomb robbery gang last time. As long as the personnel are in place, we can arrest him immediately. After talking here, Kui Hong went to receive the people from the archaeology department. He Tian went to call Chi Ling. Chi Ling had just gone to work and received a call from He Tian when he arrived at the office. On the phone, Chi Ling heard about this matter, took it very seriously, and immediately brought people over to arrest him personally. 2 hours later, Chi Ling had already brought people over and stationed them directly at the police station near Kijia village. The name was not meant to catch tomb robbers, but to crack down hard. Chi Ling wore casual clothes and went to visit Grandma Chi San, Old Man Chi. Now that it was confirmed, He Tian told everyone when Chi Ling arrived. How many people did you bring? He Tian asked. How about a dozen people in that group? Including those in the shop, there are probably 20 people. I brought 10 people, Chi Ling said. It seems that it is not enough. It's just that there are not enough police forces in the urban area to spare so many people. Mr. Huo came in from outside and asked, what's going on? A few days ago, the big girl recognized the tomb robber. He Tian had already thought of the reason and said it exactly. Mr. Huo was stunned and said, no wonder the bodyguards have been so energetic these days. It turns out something like this happened. If you want to catch everyone, you don't have enough people. And now Kijia village is here, and there are tourists from out of town. But we really can't find anyone right now, He Tian said. Grandpa, can you think of a way? Mr. Huo thought for a moment and said, then I'll make a call and you guys can go out first. He Tian, Kailing goes out. Mr. Huo directly called the person stationed in Hawaii City. After being transferred, he got through and told the situation here. The other side immediately agreed to send 2 platoons, about 60 or 70 people. Chi Ling felt relieved when he heard that Mr. Huo had mobilized troops, and the police force on his side was sufficient. The shopkeeper of Wenbazai has been a little uneasy today, but after careful inspection, he didn't find anything wrong. Kui Hong was very angry today. He waited for a whole day, but he didn't even wait for the city's archaeologists to come. That Director Ho is simply a bit of a jerk. In the evening, He Tian saw Kui Hong coming angrily and asked, Professor Kui, what's wrong with you? The archaeologists from the city's cultural bureau didn't come at all, Professor Kui said angrily. Those people are probably in a meeting again, and they are only waiting for someone to report that a tomb was discovered or dug out by farmers directly, so they were late. You can discover cultural relics without using your brain. Haha, those people are just sitting back and enjoying their success. He Tian smiled and said, ignore them. I have contacted the police at the police station, and some people will take action tonight to arrest those people. Kui Hong was stunned, nodded, and said, that's okay. Our main purpose is to catch those tomb robbers. As long as those people are caught, they will not endanger the lives of ordinary people. As for the things in the tombs, let the archaeologists people in the department can do it themselves. Well, that's okay, He Tian nodded. The armed police will come out in the evening, and you, Master Kui, and Kui Ying will be responsible for stopping those fish that slip through the net, okay? Kui Hong nodded and said, okay. At 12 o'clock at night, it was dead of night. Qi Ling took people to Wenbei secretly. It was dark and quiet all around. Kui Ying, Kui Yang, and Kui Hong secretly sent the child to He Tianation's home to lead people to block it outside. The shopkeeper couldn't sleep at night, so he became cautious, went to the back room, lifted a wooden board on the ground, and found a basement inside. In the basement, several people were playing cards, drinking, and boxing. "Are you guys actually drinking?" the shopkeeper said coldly. "Don't you know you have to work harder?" "Second master, we are hidden here so no one will notice," a man said. "It's so late now, the brothers are working overtime, and they are also hungry, so they came here to drink and eat." "Second uncle, they did just come out of it," Lu Jiajia said. "Second uncle, don't worry, I don't drink and I'm always on guard. Nothing will happen." The shopkeeper was very satisfied after hearing what his niece said. He nodded and said, "Well, that's right. You old men are not as good as Jiajia, a girl. Jiajia is the daughter of Boss Lu back then. The tiger father has no dog daughter," another middle-aged man praised. "We will follow the Lu family and enjoy the popular food. Second master, you can rest assured that you can definitely leave smoothly this time." "Well, I don't have to worry about you taking care of me. I'll do my best," the shopkeeper explained and encouraged him before he came out. However, as soon as he climbed out of the basement and went out with a flashlight in his hand, Platoon Commander Wang put a gun to his head directly at the door. The shopkeeper wanted to take advantage of the chaos to escape, but was subdued by Qi Ling. "Go," the shopkeeper shouted immediately when he saw that he had been caught and couldn't run away. Although his voice was loud, the soundproofing in the basement was very good in order to keep it secret, so the people inside did not hear it. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1209. 1208. Wang Zhiliang made a gesture to the men behind him. The person opposite understands. The people behind took the wooden warehouse and quietly entered the house. As for the shopkeeper, he has been handed over to Qi Ling, asking them to take good care of this person to prevent him from committing suicide or running away in fear of crime. Those people have already obtained the route to the underground cave, and there are two parties blocking the entrance of the cave outside, so they can boldly enter the basement now. The man who was drinking saw the basement door opened again and thought the shopkeeper was here again. Lu Jiajia was also a little impatient, feeling that her second uncle didn't trust her. However, when she raised her head and was about to speak, she saw several people coming in with wooden warehouses, shouting, "Run away! They have been surrounded." The drinkers were stunned and quickly ran into the cave, where they had dug an escape tunnel in advance. The staff had already opened the wooden warehouse and hit two people in the legs. The middle-aged man and the young man who drank were bad and were subdued by the opportunity. Lu Jiajia saw those people first and dodged the bullets and entered the hole. But at this moment, she didn't have time to notify the people who were digging the hole, so she immediately placed the three-wood warehouse inside, continuously and without interruption. This was the code they had agreed upon in advance. The base camp was surrounded and they quickly escaped from other places. The cave can only accommodate one person walking bent over, but this is already very spacious for someone who is used to climbing into the thief cave. Lu Jiajia led a few people to move quickly inside the escape hole. The people who followed behind just wanted to run out of the escape hole quickly. The 8 or 9 people who were digging the hole did not dare to continue and left through another hole. Wang Zhiliang blocked the entrance of the cave to avoid unnecessary damage. The other two exits have been ambushed. It is better to wait for those people to come out before arresting them than to be in a dark, small burglary cave. Lu Jiajia and another group of people ran outside. Seeing that there was no one outside, they quickly said, "Brothers, let's start running into the forest now." If we climb over this mountain, we can escape. Yes, miss, everyone agreed and followed Lu Jiajia. However, just after they ran a few dozen steps, they were surrounded. Put down your hands, Mukang, and give up resistance, one of the staff said. Those are extremely vicious tomb robbers. How can they be so peaceful? They just open a wooden warehouse and attack them. One staff member couldn't dodge and was hit in the thigh. Since these people were stubbornly resisting, Lu Jianjun ordered, open the wooden warehouse. A few people have been knocked down in Jimyukang. Seeing this, Lu Jiajia saw that there were only 8 of them and 20 of the opponent. They couldn't escape anyway. She raised her hands and said, I surrender, I surrender. Lu Jianjun stopped when he saw this, but when Lu Jiajia saw him stop, he led people to jump off the cliff next to him, saying, jump down. This cliff is actually not high, about 10 meters, and there are trees and grass. If you are lucky, you will only suffer some minor injuries and no one will be killed. However, just when they thought they had escaped, Kui Hung was already waiting below. He picked up the stone in his hand and hit the acupuncture points of these people one by one. They staggered on the ground and were unable to move. Lu Jianjun came over and captured them all. Kui Hung has quietly left. Lu Jianjun wanted to find someone, but found no one, but he was sure that someone would definitely come to help beforehand. Maybe they were the bodyguards of those leaders. Anyway, the person has been caught and sent to the police station below first. He took 2 people to search. At the other end, there was also a blockage, and 7 people were caught. Including those caught outside, there were a total of 19 people. 2 more to go. So, they prepared to attack from 3 directions. When Kui Yang was assisting these people, he was discovered. When he saw someone getting in, he quickly stopped him and said, those robber holes are very small. If you go in, it will be difficult for you to use your skills. Those tomb robbers are good at operating in the cave. If you go in like this, you will cause casualties. Then what should we do? Asked a captain. They were all his men. He wanted to make meritorious deeds, but he didn't want his men to die. Kui Yang smiled and said, actually, it's very simple. You can get cigarettes inside. If you don't eat or drink inside, you will shed tears when you get into the smoke and you can't breathe. These people will naturally come out. In case they bring oxygen, we can't do it with thick smoke, the captain said, hesitantly. You attack suddenly. They didn't know it at all. They must not have brought anything to eat. So, how long do you think they can wait? Kui Yang said, furthermore, those people may have detonators in their hands, and so did you when you went in. No good. Upon hearing this, the captain felt that what Kui Yang said made sense and said, thank you, old man, you are. I live in the Shenlong temple on the mountain. Kui Yang said, if you are worried, I can wait until your operation is completed before going back. That's a problem for the old man, the captain said, and then he started to find half-dried firewood, lit it and put smoke into the hole. The other 2 places also received news, but Wang Zhiliang's exit was on the edge of the tourist street. If the smoke was blown, it might cause panic in the surrounding shops, so they directly blocked the exit here to prevent the smoke from coming from here. Come out. The exits here are blocked, leaving only 2 exits inside, and people are setting off cigarettes at the exits. There are indeed 2 people inside. They originally planned to wait for others to leave before going out, but now there is smoke and the air is getting thinner and thinner. They don't know what to do for a while. Brother Xiao Wu, what should we do? Xiao Liuzi asked. They were all orphans adopted by the Lu family. They usually did some hard work and learned some things, but they didn't expect to be given a ride this time. Ahem, Brother Xiao coughed twice, we can't escape this time. Then we can only go to jail. Xiao Liuzi choked, I don't want to go to jail. Brother Xiao Wu whispered, don't be afraid. When we went out for a while, They asked us and they said that we were orphans since we were young. Later we found out that we were abducted by the Lu family and could only do some digging work. You can't tell the difference between good things and good things if it comes into our hands, and we didn't kill anyone or resell cultural relics. We'll be jailed for a few years at most. Xiao Liuzi was stunned and said, "It's not good for us to say so. After all, it was the Lu family who raised us. The Lu family has raised us, but our life in the Lu family is not even as good as the servants. Why should we defend the Lu family?" Brother Xiao said, "If you say this, we can be sentenced less and get out earlier. Come out earlier." At that time, our brothers left the Lu family and went to the south to find a good job. It was better than digging holes for thieves all our lives. After all, if we dug it, it would not be available to us, and it would be just a labor force. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1210. 1209. Xiao Liuzi thought for a while and felt that his brother was right. He nodded and said, "Well, Brother Xiao, you are right. We are just hard laborers and have never killed anyone. We're out. If those people ask us why we came out so late, just say that we were digging a hole in the innermost part and didn't have time to run out with the others," Brother Xiao Wu explained as he walked. When they arrived at the entrance to the west, Brother Wu did not dare to go out immediately, but shouted loudly, I surrender, cough cough cough." After saying that, he first threw the shovel, axe, and other things he had on him out of it to show that he had no weapons. "Raise your hands and surrender, we will be dealt with lightly," platoon leader Lu said. "Come out quickly. Come out immediately, don't shoot," Brother Xiao said, and the two people came out of the hole. Seeing this, platoon leader Lu asked, "Is there anyone else inside?" "It's full of smoke and there's no one left," Brother Xiao Wu said. "We dug the hole in the innermost part, so we're at the end. Please be lenient. We didn't want to rob the tomb, we were forced by the Lu family. Whether it's forced or not will be known after investigation." "Take him back first," platoon leader Lu said. "Come on, I'll take you in to see if there's anyone else inside." Although it was said that there was no one there, they did not dare to leave without going through inspection. After searching, they found that no one was in the cave, but they also admired how powerful these tomb robbers were. The cave inside was actually 200 to 300 meters long. Some detonators were also found, and they were all confiscated. The shopkeeper was held in isolation, and at dawn, he was taken directly to the county detention center for interrogation. He was worried that arresting so many people at once would cause panic. Lu Jianjun and Wang Zhiliang came to visit Mr. Huo, Mr. Tang, and Mr. Qi personally and reported the situation. "Well, you've done a good job, so as not to let any fish slip through the net, you should leave some people here to cooperate with the local public security and maintain the security of the scenic spot. After all, there are dozens or hundreds of tourists here every day," Mr. Huo explained. Road. Platoon leader Lu nodded and said, "Yes. The boss has already told them that when these big shots leave Kijia village, they can leave Kijia village. They must not let anything happen to these people." The tomb robbers were captured, and before noon, Ho Daliang came in person. Because they received news that these were tomb robbers, and they were caught in the robber cave. A day ago, those who were still debating whether to come over for inspection all shut up. "The tomb robbers are here and they are making a lot of noise, so hurry up and excavate." Not only did the archaeological department bring people over, but they also reported to the archaeological department above, who immediately supported an archaeological team of more than 30 people. Director Ho brought so many people that Kui Hung didn't even bother to pay attention to him. However, Director Ho was a thick-skinned official and didn't care about Kui Hung's attitude at all, and kept trying to get closer to him. "Professor Kui, thank you this time. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have been able to discover such a big project," Ho Daliang said. "When it is confirmed, I will give you the first credit. Kui Hong smiled and said, I don't dare to take the credit. I'm just curious about whose grave is here. By the way, let me work. The salary should be high and the benefits should be good. That's necessary, Ho Daliang said with a smile. I'll ask Professor Kui to take care of me in the future. Only when these archaeological team members came over did Secretary Chi know that such a big thing had happened in the village. I was a little scared at first, but suddenly I got a good idea. So Village Chief Chi came to Grandma Chi-san's house to discuss his idea with several elders. These old men are all knowledgeable. If you encounter some things here, please ask the elders and the juniors for some advice, Village Chief Chi said with a smile, trying to be polite first. Dazu, if you need anything, just say it. If we can help you, we will definitely help you. Mr. Tang smiled and said, you don't have to be polite to us. Yes, Dazu, you have always been measured. Just tell us and see if we can help, Old Man Chi said. He felt that this nephew probably wanted to benefit Kijia village through this incident. Chi Dazu smiled and said, actually, it's not for me, but for our Kijia village. Now our place is a tourist area. There are Shenlong Temple, Daowen and other entertainment places on the mountain. But after all, the background is not enough, but our place I have excavated 2 large tombs, and this time is the 3rd time. I thought that instead of sending the excavated things to the urban museum, it would be better to stay nearby and wait for the things to be discovered. Wouldn't it be great if we build a museum and put these excavated objects in it so that more people can learn about it? When the old men heard this, they nodded and said, it seems a little bad to build the scenic spot in the original place. Will it disturb people's rest? Old Man Chi frowned and said, hey, even if the attraction is not built in the original place, all the things inside will be taken away, including the coffins and other things inside. Yes, we can preserve it and restore it to its original appearance as much as possible. As for the owner of the mausoleum, we still put it in the cemetery without letting anyone disturb it, and only open it to other places, Chi Dazu said. Compared to being moved to other places, leaving it might be better for the owner of the tomb in situ. At the same time, our tourist area is in situ, and it will definitely become a big attraction here. Because it has been discovered, it is impossible not to carry out excavation work. Yeah, that's a good idea. Several people nodded. He Tian served tea to the old men, heard their conversation, and said with a smile, Uncle Chi, your idea is good. It is not difficult to win this project. The key is that you must find an expert. If you do this, will Kijia can have any. The downside is that we don't just look at money, but also at cultural heritage and taboos. Old Man Chi nodded and said, yes, Tian is right. Kui Hong from Shenlong Temple knows archaeology and some Suanman techniques. You go ask him. If he says it's okay, we will fight for you. If it's not good for Kijia village, then we'll just fill it in and plant trees. What about our museum? Village Chief Chi felt a little regretful, worried that Kui Hong said it was not suitable for an attraction. Uncle Chi, you are really concerned about chaos, He Tian smiled. If not, you can build a museum at the foot of the mountain. It will still be an attraction, He Tian said, then make the information interesting. It would be nice to be more detailed. That's right, Village Chief Chi said, then I will ask Professor Kui now. Village Chief Chi left in a rage. Mr. Huo looked at the back of Village Chief Chi and said with a smile, this Dazu, as the village party secretary, is overqualified and underused. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1211. 1210. Old Man Chi was also very happy when he heard someone praising Chi Dazu. That was his nephew. He has no children, so Chi Dazu has always taken care of him and treated him as a son, just like his son. Haha, he is quite capable, but he just can't let go of the 3-acre land in Kijia village. Old man Chi said with a smile. Kijia village has developed to the point where it is the first in our Hawaii city. Many people are interested in wanting to do it. He is a village cotter, but he is not very capable, so Dazu doesn't want to leave, he just wants to make Kijia village live a better life. It's not bad to be able to manage a village well. Mr. Tang said that Kijia village is now so clean, rich, and civilized, and it is no better than the city. Without a good leadership team, we would never be able to do what we are now. Yes, Mr. Huo agreed. Secretary Chi went to find Kui Hung, but Kui Hung did not immediately agree to the matter. Wait for now. After the things are excavated, I will take a look at the environment inside. If it is suitable, it can be developed into a tourist attraction. But if there are harmful substances inside, it will definitely not work, Kui Hung said. Hazardous substances, Secretary Chi was stunned. Weren't there no harmful substances in the previous 2 times? And there were hot springs coming out. I just think it's possible, not that it's certain, Kui Hung said. Anyway, we have to wait. There are many people coming and going to Kijia village. If there is something harmful inside, something big will happen, Secretary Chi said. Our village is so close to that tomb. Professor Kui, you have to be careful. If you need to do something, you must tell me any preparations to avoid harming the villagers and tourists. That's natural, don't worry, Kui Hung agreed, but you had a good idea before. The museum project is possible. You can quickly make connections and apply for the project. Okay, I'll go right away, Secretary Chi said. No matter what, I have to get this project off the ground. Well, I support you, Kui Hung said. Instead of setting up a museum in the city where no one comes to see it, for example, if it is placed in a scenic spot, it is considered an attraction and can charge tickets. Secretary Chi saw that everyone was very supportive, so he started to make connections. Over the years, Kijia village's success has been ranked high in the county and city, and with Kijia village's strong background, it is not difficult to win this project. Seeing that the matter has been resolved, He Tian and Chi Daniu can rest assured that they have finally caught the fish that slipped through the net. Just when He Tian was preparing to pack her things and take her children away, Xie Weining and her wife accompanied Jianchikan to Kijia village, and with them was Tang Pingan, who was here for recuperation. Peace, it will definitely be good for your legs if you go to the hot springs, He Tian said. By the way, come here. I have no place to stay at home. I will arrange a hotel for you. No, I've rented a suite at Daowen Hotel, and the health doctor and nanny have already gone to clean it up, Tang Pingan said. But I still want to thank Teacher He for introducing such a good place. When I came here, I felt like I couldn't breathe. Became lighter. Xie Weining also echoed, yes, it's really comfortable. No wonder my father-in-law immediately agreed when I said I wanted to come here, and also said that I would bring my mother-in-law with me. Haha, this place is very suitable for the elderly to recuperate, He Tian said. My grandmother, grandfather, and Tang Qian's father originally planned to stay for 2 weeks, but now I am planning to take my children back to Yanjing, but I don't want to leave, so I decided to go back in the 12th lunar month. Okay, you have to introduce this place to us later, Xie Weining said. We really like it here. You guys have a good rest today, and I will take you around tomorrow, He Tian said. By the way, Pingan, you go back and rest first. Later in the afternoon, after taking a bath in your Daowen hotel, I will take you here. There is a famous Chinese doctor nearby who is best at acupuncture. Let her check it out with you. Okay, then I'll bother teacher, He Tang Pingan said with a smile. He came here this time to relax, and secondly to find a good Chinese medicine doctor to cure his leg. Tang Pingan returned to the hotel and took a bath. He Tian took him to Daowen Hospital where Wang Shuilian was located. Tang Pingan couldn't walk for long periods of time, so he had to sit in a wheelchair and be pushed by bodyguards. When Wang Shuilian saw He Tiantian coming, she smiled, and said, "Tiantian, are you coming here to show this young man's legs?" He Tiantian nodded and said, "Yes, Dr. Wang, look at her legs. Can they be cured?" Wang Shuilian smiled and said, "Young man, can you stand up on your own?" "It's okay," Tang Pingan said, "the bones have been reattached, but after walking for a long time, my legs feel weak and very painful." "Yeah," Wang Shuilian nodded, "lie down on the table over there and let me take a look at your legs." Tang Pingan was lying on the table, and Wang Shuilian was about to take off Tang Pingan's pants. Tang Pingan was embarrassed. He Tiantian hurried out. It was indeed inconvenient for her to stay. The healthcare doctor followed Tang Pingan and saw that Wang Shuilian had taken off Tang Pingan's pants. He took a clean medical towel and covered his lower abdomen. He smiled and said, "Don't be nervous, just stay relaxed. Keep your legs flat, I'll press. Tell me how it feels about your acupuncture points." "Okay, Dr. Wang," Tang Pingan said. Wang Shuilian first pressed the acupuncture point on Tang Pingan's left leg and asked, "What does this acupointment feel like?" "Pain." "What about this?" "A little sour." "What about this?" "It's a little numb." Through this method, Wang Shuilian examined Tang Pingan's legs, nodded, and said, "Well, your bones have indeed grown, but they are still very fragile. High-intensity rehabilitation is not suitable for you." The healthcare doctor frowned and said, "But without rehabilitation, he may stay like this for the rest of his life." "Haha, I don't mean that he doesn't need rehabilitation. In fact, the original intention of rehabilitation is not to restore muscle activity through high-intensity muscle training, but if it is as intense as you did before, it may cause secondary damage to the bones. Since you are here, I can tell you directly that I can restore his legs to their original state, but you must do what I say." "But..." The health doctor frowned and did not agree with Wang Shuilian's words. Tang Pingan smiled and said, "What good idea does Dr. Wang have?" "Actually, my method is very simple." Wang Shuilian smiled. "Every morning you just go to the hotel where you are staying and climb the stairs. For the first 10 days, after breakfast every day, climb 50 stairs, and then go to the hot spring villa. Soak for half an hour, and then someone will send you to me, and I will give you acupuncture." "That's it?" the health practitioner asked. "That's right, you don't need to take medicine," Wang Shuilian said. "In about 2 months, as long as you persist, you can be cured." "I can persist," Tang Pingan said. In order to recover, he would endure any hardship. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1212. 1211. After hearing this, Wang Shuilian nodded and said, "That's good." After the diagnosis and treatment here was over, He Tiantian came in and asked, "Dr. Wang, can my student's leg be cured?" Wang Shuilian smiled and said, "As long as you do what I say, it's okay." Wang Shuilian is so confident in her medical skills. "Thank you so much, Dr. Wang." He Tiantian smiled. "I have a good ginseng over there. I will have someone send it over later and treat it as a donation to Daowen Medical Center. I hope it can help more people." He Tiantian admires Wang Shuilian's medical ethics, so she is willing to do her best to help others. "Haha, even if you donated it, I won't be polite to you, but I guarantee that all these ginseng will be used for those in need, and I won't charge any money. When the time comes, I will say that it was donated by Aunt Chi's family. Let everyone remember your kindness," Wang Shuilian said with a smile. After so many years of practicing medicine, he is very open-minded and open-minded. She accepted the things donated by the rich, but used them on those in need. She was not greedy for these things. Dr. Wang has a high moral character and integrity, He Tiantian praised, a role model for our generation. "Haha, don't talk about that. Come on, Grand Champion, come and take photos with me. I want to collect them and hang them on the wall of my hall. Wang Shuilian smiled, and then took out a camera from the drawer. Let others know that she has treated many people. She doesn't value money, but she also wants to have a reputation that matches her medical skills when she gets older. He Tian smiled and said, okay. Tang Pingan knows how to take photos. Come and take a photo with me and Dr. Wang. That's great, Dr. Wang said. Tang Pingan took the camera and took pictures of them before leaving with He Tian. After that, He Tian paid attention to Tang Pingan's progress. Fortunately, after Tang Pingan followed Wang Shuilian's method, it really worked. Tang Pingan became more confident. Now Tang Pingan lives a very nourishing life every day, with good mountains, good water, good scenery, and most importantly, good air and hot springs, which are of great help to his body. My mood improved, my thinking became clearer, and I also heard interesting local legends and things. For example, the dragon appears, such as tomb robbery. He Tian is leaving tomorrow, so she came over to say goodbye to Tang Pingan. Tang Pingan is getting better here, and He Tian is relieved. How's it going? Tang Pingan, He Tian asked, are you still used to being here? Well, it's very good here, Tang Pingan said, I kind of like this place. If possible, I would like to buy a house here and settle down here. Hearing this, He Tian smiled and said, can you give up the feasting life over there in Xiangjiang? Haha, Tang Pingan smiled, remembering that teacher he saw him hugging him. Actually, I don't like that kind of life. There are a lot of social activities there, and the work and rest are not good. It affects my writing. Sometimes I can't write a novel without smoking or drinking. Don't tell me that you don't have inspiration if you don't smoke or drink. I don't believe it at all, He Tian said. When you were in college, you were a good student who didn't smoke or drink, and the novels you wrote were very exciting. Didn't you still have inspiration at that time? Yes, that's just an excuse, Tang Pingan said. After I came here, I had 2 ideas in my mind, and now I have started writing. Haha, what's the inspiration? Tell me and I'll listen, He Tian said. If it's good, you can sell the book to me and use it to make movies. You know, I have shares in Tangqian. One is the legend of the dragon in Kijia village. I found a lot of materials, and with my character portrayal and plot weaving, I have already started writing. I can write thousands of words every day, Tang Pingan said. Second, the inspiration came from the incident that happened in Kijia village some time ago, the tomb robbing. Of course, I know that tomb robbing is illegal. In fact, I can write some adventure novels with tomb robbing elements in them, and use this as a carrier to write some series of novels. Compared to the dragon novel, He Tian is more optimistic about this tomb robbing novel. They are all good, He Tian said, literary and readable. I think your adventure novel is better. Some series of stories are easy to make movies. Yes, I think so too, Tang Pingan said. I already have a plot in my mind, but I lack some professional knowledge, especially about cultural relics, so I want to wait for my health to go and talk to Kui. It's just not convenient now, otherwise I would try to borrow some books on this aspect. Okay, you write a novel about the dragon first, He Tian said. As for the information on cultural relics and tombs, when I return to Yanjing, I will find some related books for you. Tang Pingan had already brightened up and said in surprise, thank you, teacher He. You're welcome. You are my student. I hope my students can write many wonderful works. He Tian smiled and said, you should practice well and write well. I hope to see your new novel soon. I will try my best, Tang Pingan said. Getting along with teacher He in this way is actually not as difficult as imagined. Maybe it's because he has matured mentally, or maybe he has experienced so much that he has looked away. That's it, actually not bad. In the evening, He Tian had already packed up. She looked at her grandfather and grandmother and said, the child has been out for 2 weeks. I have to send him back to study. That's alright, I'll leave Ruxiang and Xiaojian to you. We'll stay here for a while longer, Madame Huo said. I really feel a little too happy to miss you. Haha, if you like it, stay a little longer, Grandma Chi-san said with a smile. I wish you wouldn't leave. Okay, I'll come here often in the future, old Mrs. Tang said. She had discussed with the old man last night whether to build a yard here and come here to live often in the future. Bai Qianjia was a little reluctant and said, hey, although I can't bear to leave, I have to leave. I'll come back next year after I've settled the matter there. Her son could only maintain his success, but he could not develop, so she had to follow him. She just hopes that her grandson can grow up soon and she can retire completely. Then you deal with things first. You are always welcome to come back, Grandma Chi-san said with a smile. It is rare for so many relatives to come to the family. Huo Yingqi was actually reluctant to leave, but here, her legs felt much more comfortable and she was stronger than before, so she wanted to stay, but she was embarrassed to let her second sister-in-law take care of her child. Grandma, let me go back with Tian Tian. After all, there are so many children, Huo Yingqi said. She couldn't be selfish and push her own affairs to her younger siblings. Second update arrived.